is a game series I've talked about on this channel before. The most Sigma Chad of old head JRPG franchises. It's an extremely important game to the development of Japanese video games, a fact that I think is often overlooked in Western discourse. Ys 1 first released as Ys 1 Ancient Ys Vanished for the PC-88 in 1987 with the combined powers of Masaya Hashimoto and Tomoyoshi Miyazaki, as well as the musical stylings of Yuzo Koshiro and Meiko Ishikawa, and would later be re-released in a bajillion forms, typically bundled with its sequel, Ys 2 Return of the Ultimate Big Cock Super Chad. Okay, that's not its name, but I want it to be. What makes Ys 1 such an influential game is that it's set the groundwork for a lot of stuff that would come in the future, especially from a story perspective. A lot of games of the time would have a passable story, but Ys was one of the very first to have the story be the centerpiece of the entire game. In fact, the whole setup of the game, outlined in the original game manual, depicts the game as you, the player, reading about Adol Christin in an anthology series about him over 1,000 years later. Here's the rough basics of it that I stole from the Ys wiki. Have you heard of Adol Christin? Adol Christin, 1,000 years ago, or probably even several hundred years more. He was born in a small backwater town on the western shore of the continent of Eurasia in the northeast of the Europe region. From the time he was 16 until his death at 63, he was an intrepid adventurer who visited many foreign lands, principally around Europe. Born of a poor family of farmers, it was evident to all that he was a young man brimming with curiosity, interested in any topic. In particular, he wanted to learn about the world outside his small village. One day, he happened to meet a traveler who came to his village. This made him decide to travel and experience adventure himself. In that time, society was limited to just foot and boat travel, so the breadth of Adol's exploration is truly impressive. It is said that he traveled to the center of Africa, to the south as far as the river Tigris, in Oreta in the east, and in his final years set his sights on the North Pole, though it appears he failed to have gotten there. From what we can tell, we get the impression that it would be appropriate to describe him as having a considerably inquisitive and adventurous spirit, which yearns for strange foreign lands. As he visits places, he recorded the events in journals, which he left for posterity. A representative example of his journals might be the 5 Dragons of Altargo, the Foliage Ocean in Salsetta, the Sand City of Kefin. Those are the sorts of stories he recorded. Unlike the man himself who swept through the Western world like a storm, his travelogues, which exceed 100 volumes, currently lie preserved in the basement storeroom of his family home. Through reading these tomes, we hope to come to understand exactly what sort of adventurer he was. The tale that we record henceforth, the first translation and novelization that we have done to memorialize his journeys, is taken from the opening section of The Ancient Vanished Kingdom. This adventure begins in the kingdom of Esteria, which now lies on the ocean floor. The details for how he came to be in Esteria shall be weaved into our story. In this era, light and darkness were still in total chaos. We would like you to read this volume experiencing what he did and feeling as if you were the man himself. Now that sure was a lot of hoopla, and it sure as fuck helped me pad this video out. But the core thing that I find fascinating about all this is that this premise has been the beating heart of the Ys series even today with Ys 10 Nordics. The formula is still the same. Adol travels to new lands that he's never been to, and with the power of his left nutsack, he single-handedly saves the day. Oh, and Doki's there. We're people experiencing Adol Christin's incredible adventures throughout the world as he meets new people, overcomes incredible odds, and wins over more cute anime girls. Boy, are these girls cute. Yes, they are very cute. The next game, Ys 2, which came out just a year later, continues where the first one left off. Once again, an extremely novel concept for the first time, as most video games, if they even had a story, were completely self-contained. Dragon Quest II, which was released in the same year as Ys 1, was not a linear sequel to the first, instead only stating or implying a connection to the first game through dialogue. Ys 2 literally starts with what happens after the final battle of 1 and ends with characters and plot points from the original game coming in to save the day when Adol needs them the most. And that shit is fucking fire, bro. Another thing about Ys that makes the series stand out is that it was one of the first action RPGs, as the game had a real-time bump attack system. In an era where most story-driven games were either turn-based or text-based, this really set the series apart. However, even with all these accolades to the big cock name of Ys by Nihon Falcon, it's still a very niche and lesser-known franchise when compared to Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy, which is a damn shame if you ask me. Then again, anything that becomes popular in 2023 is sure to attract some of the most obnoxious fans to ever play Mother Earth. Having it be a niche franchise sort of gives it an air of mystique and makes it easier to enjoy for prospective Western fans. One thing for sure is that I never want to see the fan base of Ys become anything like the Atlas fan base. But I digress. Ys is a badass, Sigma Chad, big PP series, and you should play it. That's the video for this week, viewer-kun. Let's see how long I can keep up consistent uploads before I want to burn a park down. Good night, everybody.